I talk a lot about connection because it's in connection that we heal and we thrive. However, sometimes those gaps that divide us are so glaringly large and so troublesome that we must address them head on. In this case, I'm talking about the division in the United States that's caused specifically by media. A lot of us are very aware and we don't pay attention to the mainstream media. But speaking of cognitive dissonance, there is another group in the United States who seems oblivious to the fact that their information is being manipulated and twisted at every turn. Today, we're going to look at Abby Phillips and the way she covered the two ISIS-supporting teenagers who threw Molotov cocktails at anti-Islamist protesters outside of Gracie Mansion, where Mamdani lives. Let's take a look at the first clip. Please give this video a like, share, and subscribe.
Republicans say Muslims don't belong here after an attempted terror attack against New York's Mayor Zohran Mamdani, and the House Speaker Mike Johnson says nothing really to condemn those comments.
See how she said that was an attack against Mayor Mamdani when it wasn't at all. It was two ISIS-supporting teenagers throwing Molotov cocktails at anti-Islamist protesters. They happened to be outside of Gracie Mansion, which is where Mamdani lives, and that's where that association ends. She says it's against Mayor Mamdani, so she's giving information that is twisted. It would make the casual viewer think that this was an attack on Mayor Mamdani, potentially for being Muslim, when in fact these two boys themselves are also Muslim and are also supporters of ISIS. So that night, Abby wrote an apology, kind of, on X. Let's check it out.
Something I said last night. The bombs thrown in New York City over the weekend by ISIS-inspired attackers were thrown into a crowd of anti-Muslim protesters and not specifically targeted at Mayor Mamdani. That wording was inaccurate, and I didn't catch it ahead of time. I apologize for the error.
Even her apology isn't much of an apology, and it still makes it sound as if they were targeting Mamdani in some way, which they weren't whatsoever. It's important to understand when you're dealing with really angry leftists that they believe the lies that the lamestream media is telling them. So this vision that Abby puts forward, people are taking that in and they're acting on that, and they believe that. It's wild, if you ask me. Here's another clip from Abby Phillips, and it's surrounding the same incident of the two ISIS-supporting boys throwing the Molotov cocktails. And for some reason, she's pretending like 98 or so % of all terrorist attacks don't come from Islamists. They do, and ignoring that fact is dangerous. So you've got to wonder why she's running cover. Why is mainstream running cover? Hey, if you're liking this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.
So I can't speak for Mike Johnson, but I would say we've had 2 terrorist attacks here in the last 10 days.
What does that have to do with Muslims?
So can we condemn those? Why are we?
Of course. What does that have to do with Muslims?
What does that have to do with Muslims?
There is a radical strain of Islam that's led to these terrorist attacks.
There are
obviously the vast majority of Muslims are
people with terroristic ideologies here and all around the world. What does that have to do with whether Muslims belong in American society as a group?
I think we can all understand that they want to prevent hate crimes against Muslims because, of course, not all Muslims are Islamists. It's like I've put 30 water bottles in your fridge. They all look the same, but 2 of them are full of poison. What are you going to do? Are you going to ignore that some of those water bottles are full of poison and just drink them all? Encourage your kids to drink them? Or are you going to address the fact that some of those water bottles are poisonous? Anyway, I'll leave you today with an image of the 2 boys who threw the Molotov cocktails making the hand symbol of ISIS. You'll also see one of Mamdani's guests for Ramadan at City Hall also making the exact same gesture in favor of ISIS. In fact, this is the gesture. This gesture actually means something in the Christian world. Do you remember this? 3 nails, 3 days, 1 way to God. And so a lot of Christians will just point to God.
What? Don't make some of that.
A moment where you're asking yourself how you can reconnect to growing up with being taught that.
Hey, look, the boys throwing Molotov cocktails are doing this exact same symbol that Mamdani's guests for dinner are doing in City Hall. Yay! Are we going to let those ISIS supporters, whether they're throwing Molotov cocktails or enjoying a nice meal with Mayor Mamdani in City Hall, are we going to let them steal this? Let's not do it. This is a gap that we cannot ignore. When it comes to Islamists in the United States, don't be afraid of being called Islamophobic. We have to be real about this. We also have to be vocal about it. So please speak up. Don't be afraid of being called Islamophobic. Okay, please give this video a like. Be sure to share and subscribe. Make it a great day, you guys. One way to God.